Hey witches, happy Monday. Today is Monday, April 27th, so it is Moonday, which means we're going to do our week at a glance of the moon. Moon's week at a glance. I'm not sure how I'm going to start phrasing it, but I like doing the whole week at a glance for the moon instead of just covering the moon for one day. What do you guys think? What do you guys think? Tell me. Now, I know last week the moon day post was all words versus my words, spoken. So sorry about that. Last week got real busy, and then I got physically down. I was physically down and did not feel like recording. I was able to record. I just was not feeling it. Sorry, guys. Sometimes my hip doesn't let me walk. I'm not usually in the mood for anything when my hip won't let me walk. So we are in the waxing gibbous, which means we're headed toward the full moon. Right now, today, Monday, moon is in Virgo and we are in root stage. So gardening, focus on those root vegetables that you're growing or anything that you're growing to harvest the root of, even if it's like an herb that you use the root of, right? But also like spiritually, physically, us-wise. Moon in Virgo, moon in root stage, that means it's a great time to work on your own personal foundations, laying the foundation of what you need or working on that foundation so that you can have a strong foundation for whatever your goal of manifestation is. Because think about it, in the garden, anything with a shit root structure, it's not going to withstand the storm. You know what I'm saying? Now, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, we are still in the waxing gibbous, but we move into Libra and into flower stage. So from a gardening perspective, focus on that which we harvest for its flowers. Think broccoli, cauliflower, herbs that we use the flowering parts, flowers. I feel like it's pretty self-explanatory. If you guys want me to go into those things deeper, you will have to let me know, because I don't mind doing it. I'm just gonna have to be told that like my audience wants it. Now, furthermore, from a spiritual us perspective, not just the gardening piece, being in the flower stage in Libra, which is about balance, finding balance, balancing things out, we're also flowering. That is all about learning and allowing things to bloom, right? So they go really well together, and it's all the moon's phase is all going to be about us allowing ourselves to bloom in the places that will benefit us the most. Yeah, we can bloom in any way we choose, right? However, if we're trying to advance ourselves on a spiritual path, or we're, working toward a goal, balancing where the best place to bloom is beneficial. For example, there are these tobacco plants that literally changed all of their flowering habits, even the way their flowers were shaped, pretty much overnight because of a pest that was eating out all the flowers and they weren't going to survive, right? So like, we can choose how we flower, when we flower, and we can choose whatever's best for us. And so the middle of this week is a great time for focusing on that. And then at the end of this week, we get the moon in Scorpio. It will be a full moon in Scorpio on Friday. It will also be in leaf stage. So from a gardening perspective, leafy greens will be what we want to focus on, or anything like herbs, that we harvest for the leaves specifically. However, we're looking at it from a spiritual perspective. We're looking at the full moon growing in the sky and illuminating. We're in Scorpio, which is a sign of delving into the depths. It's all about the deep emotions and the deep mechanisms with Scorpio. And leaf stages, the leaves are unfurling, right? So we're allowing the illumination of the moon to show and shine within that Scorpio energy, that which we can use to open up our leaves and unfurl, to gain the knowledge. Like, so think about leaves, okay, in plants, right? What is a huge function of a leaf in a plant? It's to provide substance and sustenance to the plant, because with plants that create chlorophyll, which most of them do, but not all, okay? And I don't know the breakdown, so you will have to look into that yourself. But most leaves collect sunlight so that they can produce chlorophyll. I think I'm saying the science of this right, but basically it gives food to the plant, right? From the sunlight. It turns sunlight into plant food. That's what happens, right? So if we allow the moonlight to become our plant food when we unfurl our leaves, as we delve into the depths in Scorpio, we can feed ourselves. We can care for ourselves. We always have this ability. However, the energy of that full moon is going to bring us even more that energy. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense outside of my mouth, because in my head, I know what I'm trying to say. I hope you all have a wonderful week. I hope you have your beautiful Monday. And I am going to go enjoy the rest of mine. Bye.